Welcome to episode 1 of creating an action RPG in Godot 4. We're gonna start off by creating a new project. I'm gonna name it action RPG in Godot 4 or something like that. Just an action RPG. I'm gonna use the compatibility renderer engine. You can use Forward Plus or mobile. It's all up to your choice. I'm gonna select a folder here, and yes, I'm gonna check the create folder. And yes, let's create the project. Now that we are in a project, I'm going to drag out these assets. I'm going to link down them and you can download them from the description. We have the player sprites here, which are we're going to use for animation. It's a tile map or sprite sheet, anything you can call it. Now I'm going to add another node and create a character body 2D node for our player. You can see it says an error. It says that there's no collision shape. Let's add one by creating a collision shape 2D node. This is how Godot works. You add node for everything. Like we have a collision shape node, so we have node for every different things. If you want to change this color, you can change it here. But what I personally like to do is increase the brightness and basically create a white color, and then just decrease the opacity straight to 0. This makes it a transparent color and has a white outline. It looks really good, and that's why I do it. I don't really like that ugly blue color. Now I'm gonna drag this sprite here just to show you which sprites I'm gonna use. And now we're just gonna set up the animations. We're not gonna create the animations or code for the animation, just gonna set up these animations. You can use those gizmos above to move and things, rotate and other things like that. It's really useful. Now what I'm gonna do here is select this trial sheet. I'm gonna count how many frames are horizontally and vertically. So let's count. There are 6 frames horizontally, and now I'm going to go to this animation tab while selecting the node and set the horizontal frames to 6. You can see now if you move the frame property here, and you can see there's all of the animations are now playing. Now we'll set up the vertical frames, which are, let's count them actually, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. These are 10 here, so we're going to set up 10. Now what this means is now all of the animations we have are now from 1 to like going on. So the idle frames are first 5 frames, and we're just going to use 1 frame as a reference because we're not animating in this episode. We're going to do that in the next one. We're just going to set up the movements today. I'm going to match the collision shape, and that's it. Let's try to create rename, and let's create a new folder here for scene, and let's save the player scene inside it. And now that we have our player here, you can see the camera is really wide and we want a short camera. What we can do is add a camera 2D node, but let's create a new scene. Then let's instantiate the player inside it, and let's create a camera 2D node, which is a camera. By instantiating, I mean you can just drag and drop the scene into the other scene. That's called instantiated, or you can click that link button next to the plus button here. You can turn on visible collision shape to see the collision shape in the plane. Let's go to the player scene now and click this plus script icon, name it and hit OK. This now creates a new script. We're going to create an export variable. Export variables show up in the editor, and you need to specify the type by adding that column there. I'm using a float for the speed here because speed is more normally a float. Now what I'm going to do is initialize it like 200.0. By adding 0.0, it tells the editor that it's a float. We have already specified the type, so it really doesn't matter. So it's a really good like practice to add this, like I'm writing string for this direction variable. It doesn't going to be used, but just to tell you. I'm going to start by adding a if statement, and I'm going to call if input.isActionPressed. it's gonna like ask the engine if what certain action is pressed. I'm gonna use the UI left action for it. UI left means if the last left button is clicked. Then we're gonna set the velocity, which is a built-in property, equal to the speed. You can determine which direction is left and which direction is right. Like the speed variable right now is 200. That means it's positive. So we're gonna make it negative by adding a minus next to it. And we're gonna set the y velocity to 0 because we don't want to move to y direction while we're moving to the x direction, which is horizontal. Now for the right, we're just gonna copy both of these and paste it and just make the equal speed. That means now we're gonna move in the positive x direction, which is left. If we run this now and press our keys, it doesn't work. We need to add the move and slide function. It tells the editor that you need to perform movement based on velocity and physics and stuff. That's to prevent any bugs and stuff. Now you can see it works, but when you move, you keep going in one direction. We're gonna set up all the directions and we're gonna fix that. We're gonna just copy the else if function. By the way, if and else if are same. What they do is like, if this thing happened, then do this, and if it doesn't happen, then check this. Is like else if doesn't happen, that do that. We're just gonna do that same thing here. If we press the up arrow key, we move in the up direction, and for up direction we use the minus y, and for down direction we use the positive y, and it's all the same here. You can see the code at the end. We're gonna add an else statement. Like if all of this doesn't happen, then we're just not gonna move. We're gonna set both of the directions velocity to 0. That means if we don't move in one direction or any direction, it doesn't move. Now you can set the speed here, and that's why exports are really convenient. You don't really need to come back to the script. You can just add anything, and the speed is in float, so you can also add points like 0.3, 0.1, 0.79, like that. So if you want precise speed, that can be done using the float. So that's kind of it for the movement. The last thing is that we are using these UI left, UI right, and these are kind of placeholder. So you go to the project settings and this input maps. You can now set up custom input maps by writing the name here at the add menu. Then you add the plus icon to add any keys. I'm going to add the left arrow key and the A key for left, right, up and down. I'm going to add all of these, and then clicking the plus button, we can assign them all the keys. Now we have creating some custom actions. We were using these built-in actions. Now we have created our custom actions. I named them left, right, up and down intentionally, so I don't really have to write too much again. Laziness. And it's like that. I'm gonna assign these to them here, and now you can move by both using the arrow keys and the WASD keys. I forgot to mention that this is the physics process delta function. It's called 8 times the frame or second, I forgot. And you can see these tabs on the right. These are tabs that determine body. If there's one tab, that means all of the code is in the function that the tabs belong to. Though 2 tabs means like one is for the function, like the code is inside the function, and the second is for those in the if statement, like this code is in the if statement.